For here we are answering questions on the wind and a boy. So given an extract there, it says they began to laugh at his third phase. Almost overnight he turned into a tall, spiny-legged, graceful gazelle with large grave eyes. There was an odd musical lilt to his speech, and when he teased or was up to mischief, he moved his head on his long, thin neck from side to side like a cobra. It was he who became the king of kings of all the boys in his area. He could turn his hand to anything and made the best wire cars with their wheels of shoe-polished tins. All his movements were neat, compact, decisive, and for his age, he was a boy who knew his own mind. They laughed at his knowingness and certainty on all things, for he was like the grandmother who had had a flaming youth all on her own too. Suggestion had scandalized the whole village in her days of good morals by leaving her own village ward to live with a married man in Razifitamulemo ward. She had won him from his wife and married him and then lived down the scandal in the way only natural queens can. Even in old age, she was still impressive. She sailed through the village, head in the air, with a quiet, almost expressionless face. She had developed large buttocks as time went by, and they announced their presence firmly in rhythm with her walk. Okay, so we have question 6, and this is 6.1. So at 6.1, it says, what is the setting of the story? Well, the setting of the story has to be in a village. We have 6.1, and the setting of this story is in a village ward called it's called Razifitamulemo. Okay, and now we have 6.2 here. It says, describe Friedman's third phase of growth. Mention 2 things. Okay, so here we would say he has grown tall. He has grown tall and has become very mischievous. So this is very mischievous. And now you can say he is now a talented young man who can turn his hand to anything. Okay, let's go to the next question here. It says, explain why the following statement is false. Friedman's mother is an involved parent. Okay, so this statement is false because Friedman's mother, she left Friedman with Sejo Singh and went back to work. And you can say she is not involved in bringing the child up. Okay, let's go to 6.48a. So 6.4 says refer to lines 1 to 2, and at A it says identify a figure of speech in these lines. Okay, so let's go to lines 1 and 2. They say they began to laugh at his third phase. Almost overnight he turned into a tall, spiny-legged, graceful gazelle with large grave eyes. And it says here identify a figure of speech in these lines. So the figure of speech here would be a metaphor. And now let's go to B. B says, explain the comparison in this figure of speech. Okay, so here you would say that Friedman's physical features are compared to those of a gazelle. Right, now we have 6.5. It says refer to lines 13 and 14. And here it says what makes Sejosinye remain impressive. Now let's go to line 13. Line 13 says even in old age, she was still impressive. She sailed through the village, head in the air, with a quiet, almost expressionless face. Okay, so here we would say she remains impressive because even after, so this is after taking someone's husband, the society expected her to be ashamed of herself. Instead, she held her head high and lived her life confidently. Okay, and let's go to 6.6. All right, now it says give 2 reasons why Friedman needs a bicycle. Okay, so here I would say it would be so that he runs up and down to the shops for his for his grandmother, and it would also be that so he can deliver messages for her. Right, let's move on to 6.7. It says one of the themes in this story is gender roles. Discuss this theme. Okay, so in the community of Rasefete Molemo, the boys and girls do activities that define their gender roles. Okay, so here say that the girls remain home during the day and do house chores, and this is while boys run to the bushes to hunt and come home late. So here you can say that boys are given independence. So boys are given independence and they do as they please. Okay, so boys are given independence and they do as they please because we are told so in the story. But this is while girls follow their mothers Okay, this is while girls follow their mothers. Right, and now you can hear say that Sejosinye defies gender roles as she does not conform to societal stereotypes. You can substantiate this by saying she plows her fields like men do. And plowing fields was considered to be a man's job or men's job. So this is how Sejosine defines gender roles, by plowing her own fields and planting her crops. Unlike the other women, hence they got very jealous of her and they spoke ill about her.